Welcome to the Growing Your Business podcast. This is the show that dives into the big question, what's in it for me, for both the business and its customers? On each episode, we sit down with a business owner or leader to uncover their why, their values, and the stories that drive them to grow their business. This episode is sponsored by Russ Birch, commercial banker with Frost Bank in Plano, Texas. Welcome to Growing Your Business. Today I'm joined in the studio by my friend Rob Miller of Papa Rob's Coffee. How you doing, Rob?
Pretty good.
Do people call you Papa Rob?
You know, it's funny. I lived in California all my life,
Yeah.
And I was known as Pastor Rob there.
There you go. Okay.
But here I'm known as Papa Rob.
That's terrific.
So, yeah, it's funny.
And let's talk about that name, because I know there's a reason we call it Papa Rob's Coffee. So why did you call it Papa Rob's Coffee? And we'll get into the coffee itself in a minute.
Well, we moved here in 2021, right before Snowmageddon, by the way.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It got the chance to experience real Texas weather.
Oh, yeah.
And, my grandkids, I have 5 of them. They all call me Papa.
Yep.
And when I decided to start this business of Papa Rob's Coffee, I thought, well, I'll do it in honor of them. You know, I'm known as Papa to them. I love them dearly. And so
that's great.
The coffee business after them.
So how did you get into the coffee business? I mean, and let's talk about your journey. What were you doing before, and how did you get into coffee?
Right. So I was a full-time vocational pastor, pastoring a church in California, a Calvary Chapel. And COVID hit 2020. All of us remember that.
Lots of changes.
So my head was kind of in the game with that. Very busy time, very difficult time for churches. And at the same time, my daughter here in Texas, who'd been living here for a few years with her husband and family, after the birth of her second child, developed like an autoimmune thing that made her not feel well. But we really noticed a difference in 2020. And we just said, wow, she's not doing so great. And so my wife and I got talking and praying, and at the end of kind of that COVID period around October, we realized that it'd be helpful for us to be here to give her a hand with the kids and just support her. And so we made a hard decision, but I think the right decision, that we were going to move here and be a support. And she's doing so great now. And so we came here, but I can tell you, I'm not made to be retired. So very quickly, I realized after all the boxes were unpacked and all that I needed to do something. But as a pastor, you're very busy. It's a 24/7. But the only real hobby I had, other than just kind of work out to stay in shape, was I started roasting coffee on my own. It was given to me by one of the people in my church, where he roasted his coffee. And I thought, what a cool little hobby. And so I bought a home roaster, and I think I've tried every coffee from every region of the world. I would buy them in a little place called Sweet Maria's. You can buy little batches of green beans and then roast them yourselves. And I just started roasting my own coffee, and every week I tried a different one. And I started to learn how to roast on a little home roaster. And then when I got here and I said, what could I do? Texas has a lot of churches, and I've been involved in a number of church plants. And so I thought, I'm getting too old to plant a church, but I want to be part of our church, which we are here. And I said, but I'm going to start a coffee business. And started small, bought a little machine that could do 3 pounds of roast. And 6 weeks after I started, which was September 1st, 2021, my wife's niece, her name is Lauren McBride. She's a well-known influencer, kind of house and garden and all that kind of stuff. She saw my very first post from a farmer's market, and they bought some, her and her husband, which is my wife's nephew, and they were Black Rifle people. And they got my coffee, and they were like, oh my gosh, that is like so much better than what we're getting. And she sent me a little text, and she said, I'm going to do a post. And she posted on November 18th. And the reason I remember that day is we were walking, my wife and I, in the Arboretum, and all of a sudden I have this little app for my business, and all of a sudden, bing, 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 all these orders started coming in. I had 221 orders in one day, and then over 1,000 in about the next 3-week period. So,
wow.
Yeah, it started Papa Rob's off with a bang.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, with that many orders,
right.
You had you already established, you established the brand,
sure.
But packaging, shipping, did you just have to ramp up everything?
Everything.
And walk me through that.
I wasn't prepared.
Who can be prepared for success? We all hope for success.
I had not sourced yet
Yeah.
bags. I was buying off Amazon.
Sure.
And so I was paying exorbitant prices. And now the coffee I had sourced, so I was fortunate there. I found a good, solid wholesaler. They deal only in small farm and current crop, which is, by the way, that's the best coffee you can get. Small farm meaning family farms. They typically take their coffees hand-picked to what's called a co-op. The co-op cleans it, bags it, and then the wholesaler buys it in the large bags, and that's what I buy. I buy the big 150-pound bags of coffee. But I wasn't prepared for any of that. So I was buying these little boxes of coffee from this wholesaler, and I had to very quickly ramp up to the big bags and buy a bunch of coffee. And I was literally roasting 14 hours a day, every day until I fulfilled all those orders.
You had mentioned the word current.
Yeah.
What is current in a coffee from picking to
So right now
drinking?
we're 2025, right?
Yeah.
Green coffee beans can last up to 18 months.
Oh, wow.
They're considered still fresh because it's a dry bean, very stable in pretty much any kind of climate, even Texas climate, because they're typically picked in tropical areas, which are very warm and so on. Right now, 2025 is current. So I buy 2025 beans in the large bags, which they get shipped directly to me.
Wow.
And I roast them fresh.
Sure.
That's the key, by the way.
Yeah.
You got to have fresh coffee to have great coffee.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. What's your favorite part about being a coffee business?
Honestly, people.
Yeah.
I'm kind of built that way anyway. So I enjoy interacting with people. We both belong to the same business
Networking
network. So I meet
groups,
people
yeah.
that way. But I have a lot of customers now, hundreds and hundreds of customers. So I kind of make it personal, particularly those that subscribe to my coffee. I have a subscription program that people can get it every week, every 2 weeks, once a month, once every 6 weeks, however they want it. And I get to know my customers, what they like. Sometimes I send them surprise bags and just all kinds of things where I actually get to know the people who like my coffee and why. And I've met a lot of people, and that's really fun for me. And honestly, I never even had a thought that I'd have a business. I mean, I always thought I'd be in full-time ministry till I died. And so coming here, kind of a change of game, it has added kind of a thrill, really just meeting people, doing something different. I'm still very active in our church, but also getting to just do something and having a business of my own. And it's grown to a point now where I'm like, wow, this is a real business. I do a fair amount of coffee, and it's a lot of fun.
Stay with us. The Growing Your Business podcast will return right after this.
A woman in Austin was depositing a cashier's check at the bank, but she deposited it right into a storm drain. The frost banker found another way in. Time out! So he went into the hole, like a cave diver.
A real spelunker of the streets.
What about the check?
It's money in the bank.
Ka-ching!
Ka-chang.
Ready to amplify your brand's voice? At Blue Mike Studios, we transform your ideas into captivating podcasts and videos. Whether you're launching your own show or guest starring on ours, we've got you covered. From recording and editing to social media promotion. With state-of-the-art 4K video and crystal clear audio, your content will shine. We offer guest packages on our podcasts and offer segments from the show for you to share. Or let us help you build your own branded podcast with custom strategy, branding, and full production support. Visit BlueMikeStudios.com today and let your voice be heard. Please check our show notes for sponsorship links and additional details. Now, back to the Growing Your Business podcast with Buddy Broyles. So talking about growing, are you looking to hire a staff? I mean, what is your, I'd say if we had to put it on the wall, Rob, right here, we had to say a whiteboard and we were drawing it up. What are your growth plans and how are you getting to that and through that?
That's a great question. Again, having a business that helps to have a long-term goal. My long-term goal actually was 200 subscribers, which I've kind of done the math and everything. I think I could still handle it myself. Right now I have 135 subscribers, but what I hadn't counted on was I'm starting to pick up a number of wholesale accounts. That changes the dynamic of a coffee business because you go from, 2-bag orders to 5-pound bags, and now I need 6 or 10 5-pound bags. That's a totally different animal. And so I'm realizing that I may need to change kind of that end goal, which was 200 subscribers, and not sure how I'm going to deal with that yet because I'm right at that cusp point where I may
Right.
need to hire someone.
Yeah.
Just physically, you can't do it all.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. And you're business to consumer. That's your subscribers, but
That's-
now you're switching to business, or the wholesale might be business to business.
Kind of just people have come to me, businesses,
Yeah.
like I was eating at a restaurant and I got talking to the owner and he goes, "You roast coffee?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "Would you bring me it back? I'd like to taste it." I said, "Sure." Brought him it and he goes, "Oh my gosh." So now he sells my coffee and those kind of things, just, and through the business network, I've been introduced to 2 different people that next thing you know, they wanted to use my coffee for their
Right.
wholesale.
And restaurateurs, people
Sure.
who want people to come in because of the freshness,
Yeah.
the taste, and all of those things.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of opportunity there, and you're experiencing that. That's part of this show is growing your business.
Sure.
Is if you're not growing it, you're stagnant, and
Yeah.
and there's a reason to be stagnant though. Like
Mhm.
once you're happy,
Sure.
and your customer base is happy, that's one thing. But most of us are growing our business.
Sure.
Of the flavors.
Mhm.
What is your favorite? Because we have options here from you. What would you say
Right.
is your favorite coffee to drink yourself?
Well, I think first of all, really good coffee typically comes from a single origin. So that means you have regions that are well known, like the one I have here. If you want to see it?
Yeah.
Camera can see it.
we're
This
reading
is
it.
from Guatemala, right?
Yep. Yep.
So the region is called Hutuhuehue
Oh.
in Guatemala. And that particular region is known for a very kind of caramely, nutty coffee that has these kind of brown sugar notes and just really great coffee. Very smooth, almost an oatmeal cookie tone after you take that last sip. So,
Wow. Is anyone else's mouth watering?
Yeah.
It's like if you're listening, to
if
this,
you
you're
love
like,
coffee
I need to go get
and
some
you've tried coffee, I
Yeah.
honestly can't say I have a favorite.
Yeah.
Because I mix it up. I pretty much drink a different coffee every week. And sometimes I like dark roasts. A lot of times I like more the medium light roasts. I typically drink my coffee, which is called as a pour over. But sometimes I mix it up. I like to do espresso, and have maybe a little cream or whatever. And so you name it, I just like coffee.
What's your favorite way to brew? You mentioned pour over.
It's probably my favorite.
Yeah. So talk me through the different ones you've tried. I mean, there's
Mhm.
drip.
Sure.
Kind of list those out for me, and how did you get
Well,
to
the
liking a
mains
certain one?
is you can do French press.
Yeah.
And I like a good French press. I like a good cold brew. Like right now in the summer, I always have a cold brew in my fridge. And so, and I like cold brew with a little bit of cream or milk over ice. Pour over, of course, is I think you get kind of the truer flavor notes, and it's also a little smoother when you do a pour over. But I like pretty much any espresso drink. I'm a fan. I mean, when I was in Europe, cappuccinos, man, I had 3 or 4 of those a day.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Those will get you going.
good coffee drinks. You just love coffee. So, you name it, I'm in.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Same. And the aroma,
Yeah.
you're surrounded by it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. So do people greet you and they can basically smell that you're a coffee guy before you get in the room?
Yeah. When you're roasting coffee, it's funny. When coffee is roasting, it doesn't really smell like coffee because the bean is green.
Okay.
And I tell people it almost smells like burnt hay.
Okay. Interesting.
But then within a few hours, it develops a very rich, flavorful smells of deep, rich coffee. And so while you're roasting it, you really don't smell that. You smell the smoke, but very quickly coffee turns into that wonderful smell of coffee. So yeah, good coffee too. There's a window. You've got about 21 days that it's considered fresh. And so there's kind of a peak. Like when you first roast coffee, I usually wait 2 to 3 days and then I brew it. So I let it sit because what coffee does when it's first roasted, it's expelling CO2 and it can alter the flavor slightly. I kind of wait those 3 days and then literally you'll tell the difference. Like let's say day 3, I'll have my first cup, day 5, day 7, and it continually gets a little better, richer.
Really?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Interesting. So you deliver home whole beans.
Or
Right,
whatever,
or,
however
okay.
people want it. So I have 2 professional grinders, and so people can get it ground any way they want. If they have espresso machines, I can grind it for espresso. Or if you're going to do your cold brew, I'll do a coarse ground, or
Okay.
or just regular ground for drip, whatever.
And those options are available on your website?
On the website, yeah.
Oh, that's
whenever
terrific.
you're ordering, sure.
So how do you like to be contacted? I mean, straight to the website?
That's usually the best way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can talk directly to me because I have a function on there where I communicate with people directly through there.
Great. Chat with Rob. Yeah.
24, like instant.
Yeah.
Or send me an email, however. It's paparobscoffee.com.
That's
so
pretty easy.
Simple.
Yeah, that's excellent. And all of that will be in the show notes. So if
Sure.
you just scroll down, if you're listening or watching, you
Yeah.
can find it there. So there's a limitation, though. If you're buying whole bean, of course, you're grinding at home,
Sure.
right? But if it's already ground, what do you recommend for consuming within a month or whatnot once you open the package?
Yeah, I mean, I try to I tell people try to buy it with you, consume it within 2 weeks.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's
'cause
a
otherwise-
fair. You're safe.
Yeah.
I mean, I roast my coffee pretty much to order, so you're always going to get it usually within a day or two of roast. And so depending on where you live, I do sell a fair amount outside of state, and
That was
so
my next
some
question,
people
yeah.
get it 3 days later, but still you got all that period of 21 days is considered still fresh.
Great.
And yeah.
Continental U.S.?
Yeah.
What's your okay? Gotcha.
Yeah, I haven't sold anything outside. I've had every state except Hawaii.
Right. Yeah. Because
So-
that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting. And before you started, was there a particular brand you had mentioned it? I think before that was your preference. Let's go back to that.
I was primarily drinking. Black Rifle was family member.
Gotcha.
I was more of a Pete's guy.
Okay. Yeah.
So I like
yeah.
Pete's coffee.
Sure.
And I drink that primarily. But we had actually in California. I don't know if you ever heard of Martin Dietrich.
I think I've heard the name. Yeah.
He's very well known. Also, Dietrich is known as the people who make the best roasters out there. So they make an incredible roaster. I just couldn't afford it. But he had 2 shops real near my house. And I actually learned to drink coffee because I didn't start drinking coffee until I was in full-time ministry. And then he was like on my way to work. And so I would literally stop in there. And I didn't know I was drinking some of the best coffee in the world. And then I learned, this is what good coffee tastes like. Because whenever I would taste like store-bought or Starbucks or whatever, I was like, man, it just does not taste as good as this Dietrich coffee. And like anybody, typically when I started, I had a lot of cream, a lot of sugar.
Sure.
And then I
Frou
just
frou is what I call it.
I just started backing off. And then I was like, I like this coffee just the way it is. And so I was introduced to really good coffee early on. And then when I realized I could roast my own, oh man, game changer. So I've been roasting my own as a home roaster for over 10 years before I ever started this company.
That's wonderful. What would you say gets you out of bed in the morning? Doing this.
We're talking about what gets me out of the bed in the morning. I spend time every morning. But
obviously, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
specifically about
But
the
for the
business.
business,
like,
yeah.
What is it you look forward to in the coffee business daily? I think it's the question I'd like.
One
to
is
ask.
I get time alone on my own because I typically roast in the morning. I'm roasting almost every day now. And because I'm a fresh roaster, I'm roasting the orders that I have in hand. And so I kind of know, okay, I'm going to need so much of this and so much of that. And so I'll roast those that day. Usually takes me an hour and a half, 2 hours of roasting. And then I deliver for free anywhere in McKinney. And so I have a fair amount of customers now that live in McKinney. And so I'm dropping off at your door, sending them a quick text. Hey, it's at your doorstep, and I've become kind of that guy. You're kind of like the milkman of coffee.
Right. Yeah. It's important.
But it's fun. And
Yeah.
I'm usually done by 12 or noon.
Yeah.
And my day is pretty much done with that. And then lately, I've just been having a fair amount of new customers.
Mhm.
And I've just been grateful for that as well. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think I enjoy what you do because I'm a coffee drinker,
Sure.
right? So of course you can't really miss out there. But parting thoughts before we close out the show, Rob, about the business.
if you're looking for good coffee, it doesn't necessarily only have to be mine. I would say look for your local roasters. Look for those that really have an eye for quality. Remember, it's going to be small farm. It's going to be current crop. It's got to be fresh roasted. And I would also look for like a region, a particular type of coffee, whether it be from Guatemala. I have a wonderful coffee from Rwanda. I have a wonderful coffee from Sumatra in Indonesia. Look for those single origin coffees because those typically are going to be your top 1% and your best craft coffee out there. If you can find that kind of a local roaster, you're going to get some great coffee.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
We can all look forward to that.
Yeah.
So again, all your contact info is in the show notes. So if you're watching or listening, scroll down and
Thanks for listening.
get involved. Let's push you to 200 and beyond.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show today, Rob.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, buddy.
This episode was sponsored by Russ Birch, commercial banker with Frost Bank, Plano, Texas. Thank you for joining us today on the Growing Your Business podcast. Please see the show notes for links to our sponsors, our social media, and to learn more about today's guest.